All right, our last question of tonight is somebody was asking about what happens if you have a family emergency. Something happens 24 hours before your event, really last minute, and you have this major thing going on. That a car accident, something horrible with your immediate family. What do you do to be prepared for something like that, and how do you deal with it? Who's up?
Network. Like that's the key. Like it's so funny. A lot of the professionals they recognize, and some of their closest friends are the DJs that are in their market. And some DJs when they're starting out, it's like, I can't be friends with them. They're my competition. Yeah, but if things go south in some form or fashion, they're the ones that are bailing you out. So networking with them and having those backups in line are going to be key. At some point, the next step to go would be to make sure that you have an assistant that is with you and that you can train them so that if they needed to take over for you, they could make it through the night, right? So that you have kind of a backup of the backup plan. Because I know right now, like if I was to reach out to my key people for a Saturday in October, more specifically the first 2 weekends in October, I think I'd be SOL. Like I think there's just no way that would be able to happen, right? So you have to have some of those. But I would also say that your emergency should be an emergency. Like you're like this is my philosophy, and maybe I'm different, but my dad passed away on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I DJ'd an event Friday night because I wasn't going to leave the client, and this was not a wedding, this was just an event. I was not going to leave them hanging. That was my personal opinion. That's where I stand. And I would have something taken care of for the affairs, and I would move on to whatever it is that I needed to do in that moment.
I've missed 2 weddings. One I had surgery and I coded out and ended up in ICU, lost 4 days, so I had to have somebody cover. The other one is I had COVID. So during the pandemic, we're a small multi-op. And so during the pandemic, we'd only put 3 DJs out in the event somebody caught COVID. So we'd have one in the reserve. But definitely, like Dan, network market within your company. Hey, if you can bet, I bailed somebody out this year on September, had a cancellation, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to join the Saturday off. A friend of mine called me, says, hey, our DJ is being life flighted to the hospital. We don't know what's going on. Can you cover? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Overperformed and made more than they had promised. But you be there for them as they're there for you if you can help them out. And the guy ended up passing away, and I gave all my money to that DJ's family. So the guy don't even make anything that I just give to his family. Things happen. Couples are very understanding. But again, I'm like Dan. The only time I missed was A, I had COVID, and B, I was in ICU, so I couldn't come out. But just have backups and great friends that can help you out.
For sure. And the idea that there are times, and people are talking in the chat room about doing events similar to what Dan after a tragedy in the family, is that sometimes it's just, and there's certain situations where you can't put on the performance face and go through. There's something that's just happened that you're a wreck, but many a times that we just have to put on that game face. We have to go out there and smile like it's the greatest day of our lives, and inside we've got a lot of hurt. We just need to make it through, and once we get to the other side, then we can deal with it and process.
John, I'm really surprised that you didn't say just have like 8 kids that are just going to all be DJs. Isn't that what you're up to now? Well, yeah, you got like a football team?
That pretty much is the thing, and I have been training them, yes. So I've got, actually the boys did their first solo wedding that they were traveling, and it was a pretty big wedding, so it wasn't, I mean, they've done of weddings around the area here, but this is one where they had to be completely self-contained. There was no way to, it's kind of like a mission to Mars. There's no way to send, if you don't have it packed, you don't have it, type of a thing. And they did wonderfully, and everything went well with that. But it's getting to the point where I become the backup for them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, my daughter's way cooler than I am too, so I get it.
Yeah, that's for sure. That happens once we get to our age, you know. When we hit 35, you know, it just was downhill last week. Okay, so next, DJNTV.com/chill. Howie is up in northern New York, and they're doing a festival up there and doing lighting for that with Eric. So I've seen some great pictures. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys will get to hear about that next week because Howie's off for this week. So I'll be jumping into the chill room here in just a little bit with, I think Brian's going to join me, and we have one question that is a Brian Red type question. I think we're going to have some fun with that. So we're going to jump in with that. And then tomorrow night, we'll have the music show, the recording of the music show at 10 o'clock Eastern, the stream of one of the music shows at 9 o'clock Eastern, and Wednesday we'll be running one of the streams from the Hanging with Howie, which are recorded every Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern at DJNTV.com/chill. So, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you very much for taking time on your Monday night to join us. Hopefully you got some of your questions answered, and if not, we were keeping track of the chat. We'll jot them in. The next time we have a Q&A, we'll try and get to your question. But have yourself a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Up to